Sorry. So our learning objectives at the end of the lecture, students will able to describe and discuss different vessel wall abnormalities, including congenital and acquired, the basic causes of thrombocytopenia and how to investigate it, the basic causes of coagulopathy, and the presentation and management of hemophilia A, B, and von Willebrand disease. Actually, my mouse is not working properly. So starting from the bleeding disorders, the disorders of primary hemostasis, there are vessel wall abnormalities, thrombocytopenias, and platelet function disorders. So the vessel wall abnormalities include congenital, hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias, and Ehlers-Danlos disease. And in acquired, we have the ascorbic acid deficiencies. So first we'll discuss about hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias. Hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias, also known as Osler-Weber-Rendu disease and Osler-Weber-Rendu syndrome, it's a rare autosomal dominant genetic disorder that leads to abnormal blood vessel formation in the skin mucous membrane and often in organs such as the lungs, liver, and brain. And it is caused by mutation in genes encoding integrins. This is telangiectasias. Telangiectasias are small dilated blood vessels that can occur near the surface of the skin or mucous membrane, measuring between 0.5 to 1 millimeter in diameter, and they can also be epiciated in fingertips, face, and nasal passage. In hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias, many patients develop larger pulmonary arteriovenous malformation that causes arterial hypoxemia due to right to left shunt. Patients are predisposed to paradoxical embolism, resulting in stroke or cerebral abscess. So we have to screen all patients for pulmonary arterial venous malformation. Patient of hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias can present with epistaxis, occult GI bleed, iron deficiency anemia. Treatment can be very difficult because of the multiple bleeding points, but regular iron therapy often allow marrow to compensate for the blood loss. Okay, so just we have discussed about hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias. Patient of this disease can present as epistaxis, occult GI bleed, and iron deficiency anemia. You have to screen all the patients for pulmonary arterial venous malformation. Treatment is very challenging, but regular transfusions and iron therapy allow marrow to compensate for the blood loss. For your ease, this is a case of hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias. This is a case report. I'm sharing this case, just want to share how a case of HHT present in the settings. A 60-year-old Black Kenyan woman was admitted 1 year ago to a hospital in Western Kenya with an 11-year history of recurrent spontaneous epistaxis. Her physical examination revealed that she had telangiectasias on the tongue and heart palate, severe pallar and hepatomegaly. A chest radiograph revealed right middle lobe opacity. She underwent contrast enhanced CT, which revealed a large pulmonary arteriovenous malformation and multiple hepatic arteriovenous malformation. Therefore, she fulfilled criteria for the definitive hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias. She was managed with nasal packing, tranexamic acid, oral ferrous sulfate, and blood transfusion, as other treatment options were unavailable in this setting. Here the question arises, what is the criteria for hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias? Basically, there are 4 points. If 3 are fulfilled, then we say it is definitive hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia. 1 is the presence of epistaxis. 2nd is telangiectasias. 3rd is the presence of AV malformation. And 4th is the family history. In this scenario, the patient has history of epistaxis, patient has telangiectasias, and patient has AV malformation. So the patient is fulfilling the criteria of hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias, and so she has undergone the treatment of supportive treatment, basically nasal packing, tranexamic acid, oral ferrous sulfate, and blood transfusion. So now we are moving toward the second hereditary cause, that is the Ehlers-Danlos disease, or type 4 vascular type. It is a rare autosomal dominant disorder. There is a defect in type 3 collagen. The blood vessels are very fragile, and there are typical skin changes and the facial appearance. That is the prominent eyes, thin lips, philtrum, thin pinched nose, hollow cheek, and attached earlobes. The diagnosis is considered when there is a history of bleeding, but normal lab test. The acquired causes may include scurvy. Scurvy is the vitamin C deficiency, which is also called ascorbic acid. Vitamin C deficiency affect the normal synthesis of the collagen and results in bleeding disorders characterized by perifollicular and petechial hemorrhages, bruising, and subperiosteal bleeding. Now we are coming towards the platelet function disorders. Platelet function disorders can be divided into congenital and acquired. In congenital causes, there is Glanzmann thrombasthenia and Bernard-Sollier disease. And in acquired causes, there is iatrogenic, that is resulting from the use of aspirin, clopidogrel, etc. Congenital causes in Glanzmann thrombasthenia, this is an autosomal recessive disorder. Patient presents with the bleeding tendencies. Most of the labs are normal in this scenario. The treatment options available for Glanzmann thrombasthenia are tranexamic acid and the factor 7. It is approved for the treatment of Glanzmann thrombasthenia. Otherwise, Bernard-Sollier disease, this is a very rare condition. Can I have the questions? So now we are moving towards the causes of thrombocytopenias. Thrombocytopenia, there are different causes of thrombocytopenia. The causes of thrombocytopenia include decreased production, increased destruction, consumption, and sequestrations. The causes of decreased productions include intoxication, alcohol, viral infections, which include HIV, hepatitis B, C, cytomegalovirus, and there is the bone marrow infiltrations, leukemia, tumors, etc., radiation, chemotherapy, drug-induced, and there is also nutritional deficiency like B12 and folate. Or if there is increased destruction or consumption, like in cases of immune thrombocytopenia, thrombotic microangiopathy, post-transfusion purpuras, drug-induced heparin, quinine, they also lead to increased destruction of the platelets, and DIC and trauma and the cardiopulmonary bypass. Or if there is sequestration of these platelets, it can also result in the thrombocytopenia. It can cause portal hypertension or infiltrative disease of the spleen. So if you have any questions, students, you can write in the chat box. I think there is no question in the chat box, or here is the algorithm for workup of thrombocytopenia. In thrombocytopenia, we have to first examine the peripheral blood smear. Actually, the camera is also not working. Can- Okay. Okay, that's good. So I got some response. Okay, so everyone is linked. Thank you, Nabira. So it's algorithm for the workup of thrombocytopenia. In thrombocytopenia means there is low platelet counts. This is just a way how you can investigate a case of thrombocytopenia. But this is not a guideline. You don't have to follow this. You have to take the history and examination of the patient, and then you have to decide your labs according to the history and examination. But just to rule out if you have got a CBC and the patient has thrombocytopenia, and if it is true thrombocytopenia, then, sorry, if it is true thrombocytopenia, then you have to look at the peripheral blood smear. Peripheral blood smear, if there are schistocytes or fragmented RBC, then you think of the TTP, thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura, or hemolytic uremic syndrome, or disseminated intravascular coagulation. And or in the peripheral film, if you are seeing the blast cells or the nucleate RBCs, then probably you are dealing with a bone marrow disorder. Then you have to go for bone marrow aspirate and biopsy. If there is microspherocyte, RBC clumping, or agglutination on the peripheral film, you can consider Evans syndrome. Evans syndrome is basically ITP with autoimmune hemolytic anemia. And then you will order the Coombs test, reticulocyte count, LDH, and bilirubin level. If in the peripheral film there is lymphocytosis or atypical lymphocytes or toxic granulation, you can consider infection as a cause of thrombocytopenia. ESR, CRP, chest X-ray, virology, blood culture. In that case, you will advise these labs. And if this is isolated thrombocytopenia, there is no blast cell, there is no schistocyte, there is no lymphocytes on the peripheral film, then you will consider the diagnosis of ITP or the secondary causes of thrombocytopenia. You have to take the history of hepatitis C virus, DIC, HIV, hepatitis B virus, enteric fever, dengue, and then you have to proceed on these lines. Investigation based on the clinical assessment. Like if the case of hepatitis C, you will ask about the previous exposure of blood transfusion, any history of tooth extraction. What is true thrombocytopenia? I'm giving you a scenario. You can give me answer on the chat box. Like if a young boy is coming to you with a complaint of fever, I'm repeating the scenario. 14 years old boy came to you with the complaint of fever, high grade for 2 days with chills, and he has minor petechiae on the lower limb. And on the CBC, the platelet count is 20,000. What investigation in this case you will advise? Peripheral film is positive for atypical lymphocytes. Okay, I'm waiting for the response. You can viral infection, very good. Is the CBC done? Yes, CBC is done. Platelet count is on the lower side. There is thrombocytopenia. Hemoglobin is normal. Hematocrit is on the higher side, 45. Which next lab? Viral test for dengue. Very good answer, Muiz. Good. We'll advise for dengue NS1 antigen. Okay. What other investigation you can offer? That is very right. Dengue is the most common in this setup. Young boy with fever. Any other investigation? Any other blood culture? Good. Blood culture is a possibility. Yes. So basically all the students are in right direction. You have to consider infection in this case. You have to do the ESR, you have to do the CRP, blood culture. Malaria can also present as thrombocytopenia. Because in malaria, there is also hemolysis in falciparum or splenomegaly की वजह से भी there is sequestration. So platelet count कम हो सकते हैं. So you have to keep in mind, dengue के अलावा malaria के अंदर भी patient can present with thrombocytopenia. So very good. Thick and thin smear. Okay, good. Now we are moving to this ITP. ITP is basically the diagnosis of exclusion. The clinical features are epistaxis, menorrhagia, and symptoms of connective tissue disease. ITP बेसिकली सेकेंडरी भी हो सकता है और उसमें पेशेंट को कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज के सिम्टम्स हो सकते हैं. एनी आइडिया, कुछ मुझे क्वेश्चंस बता सकते हैं क्या क्या कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज के सिम्टम्स हो सकते हैं? हाउ अ पेशेंट ऑफ कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज प्रेजेंट, or what question you will ask in history in a patient of connective tissue disease, not collagen disorder, connective tissue disease or rheumatological diseases. Give at least 3 or 4 questions history mein specific to the connective tissue disorders. Joint pain, very good, Moise, very good. The first question you will ask about the joint pain. आपके जोड़ों में दर्द तो नहीं होता है, छोटे जोड़ों में, बड़े जोड़ों में? Okay, what next question? So the patient जिसका प्लेटलेट काउंट कम हो, उनकी हिस्ट्री में हमें जॉइंट पेन के हवाले से भी पूछना होगा. टेंडन रप्चर से ज्यादा बेहतर. गम ब्लीड, ठीक है. गम ब्लीडिंग थोड़ा सा स्पेसिफिक होगा आईटीपी के हवाले से. द क्वेश्चन इज कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज के हवाले से थोड़ा सा बताएं. एक तो जॉइंट पेन बताया, गम ब्लीडिंग, जिंजिवाइटिस, ठीक है. अच्छा, मुझे लगता है क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा गलत आप लोग समझ रहे हैं. आई एम नॉट आस्किंग अबाउट द सिम्टम्स ऑफ आईटीपी. आईटीपी के पेशेंट में हमें कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज की हिस्ट्री लेनी है. हाउ टू टेक द हिस्ट्री ऑफ कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज. एक सही आंसर है इसमें, जॉइंट पेन, स्वॉलन फिंगर्स. गुड, दिस इज द राइट आंसर. और क्या हो सकता है? कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज से बेसिकली हमारे जहन में मिक्स कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज, शुग्रैन सिंड्रोम, एसएलई, आरए, ये वाली चीजें आती हैं. हाउ टू टेक हेयर लॉस, वेरी गुड. एलोपेशिया, सेकंड, गुड. जॉइंट पेन पूछेंगे, हेयर लॉस का पूछेंगे, और रैश, वेरी गुड. फोटो सेंसिटिव रैश, टिपिकली ये पूछेंगे. और एक और आंसर दे दें, फिर हम आगे प्रोसीड करते हैं. रेनॉल्ड सिंड्रोम, गुड, ठीक है. एक और, ओरल अल्सर्स के हवाले से पूछेंगे, मसल पेन, ठीक है. गुड, ओके, सो फार गुड रिस्पॉन्स. ठीक बताया आप लोगों ने. कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज के अंदर वी विल आस्क अबाउट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ आर्थराइटिस, आर्थ्रेल्जिया, मस्कुलर पेन, अबाउट रैश, एलोपेशिया, रेनॉल्ड सिंड्रोम, ओरल अल्सर्स, ठीक है. So in a case of ITP, the patient usual presentation is of epistaxis and menorrhagia, but you have to take the history of other connective tissue disease. And how will you manage the patient of ITP? Idiopathic, if the platelet count is less than 30, usually no treatment is given except at the time of bleeding risk or surgery का risk है या biopsy करनी है, तो we offer the treatment. Otherwise patient asymptomatic है, कोई treatment नहीं करते. अच्छा, the first line of the treatment ITP के अंदर is prednisolone 1 mg per kg डेली. नेक्स्ट जो ऑफर किया जाता है फर्स्ट लाइन के साथ, दैट इज आईवी इम्यूनोग्लोबुलिन. अदर ऑप्शंस दैट आर अवेलेबल आर एल्ट्रम्बोपैग है, साइक्लोस्पोरिन, टेक्रोलिमस एंड रिटोक्सिमैब. They are also used in refractory cases of ITP जहां स्टेरॉइड से रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आता है. Then we will give the second line treatment. Okay, again there is a scenario. काफी सारे आंसर्स इसमें आप लोग डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. 18 years old girl with no known comorbid came to you with the complaint of menorrhagia and occasional epistaxis. How will you further inquire in history? ठीक है, आई वॉन्ट आंसर्स फ्रॉम योर साइड. एक तो डिस्कस अभी हुआ है कनेक्टिव टिश्यू डिजीज के हवाले से, इसमें हम सारी चीजें पूछेंगे. आई एम गिविंग यू द आंसर. द पेशेंट हैज डिनाइड द हिस्ट्री ऑफ एलोपेशिया, शी डिनाइड द हिस्ट्री ऑफ photosensitivity, she denies the history of arthralgia, joint pain, and she also denies the history of oral ulcer. Okay, menstrual bleeding, menorrhagia है, ज्यादा हो रहा है, 8 days है cycles. और क्या पूछेंगे? You have to reach the diagnosis in this scenario. Medication history, very good, ठीक है, because there are certain drugs which can cause low platelet. We will ask about the drug history. Good. What next we will ask in this scenario? We will ask for a family history. Very good, ठीक है. What next? Is there any family history of bleeding disorders in the family? She denied the history of any bleeding disorders in family. Any history of previous infection? Okay, there is no history of recent fever, and there is no history of any travel. What next? You will further inquire in the history in a young girl with menorrhagia and epistaxis. We'll ask for enlargement in abdomen, spleen. Achha, this is basically when we move toward the examination, then we will check for the spleen. Dietary intake. Dietary intake is sufficient of the patient, ठीक है. What specifically कुछ और है माइंड में? menorrhagia, epistaxis, A patient of hypothyroidism can also present with menorrhagia, although not with epistaxis, but with menorrhagia. So I think a history of hypothyroidism, like weight gain, constipation, hair loss, dryness of the skin, ये भी माइंड में होना चाहिए. और क्या पॉसिबिलिटी है, और हिस्ट्री में क्या पूछ सकते हैं? सोमनोलेंस, ठीक है, और गम ब्लीडिंग, जी इंपॉर्टेंट है गम ब्लीडिंग, ठीक है. और किसी साइड से तो ब्लीड नहीं हो रहा, मेनोरेजिया है, एपिस्टेक्सिस है, गम ब्लीडिंग है, या एनी ब्लीडिंग फ्रॉम एनी अदर साइड. अच्छा, how important it in this scenario is to take the history of hepatitis B and C risk factors. Bleeding for longer than need, ठीक है. Recent history है blood transfusion की, या previous कोई blood transfusion की history है, तो इसमें blood transfusion की history भी important है. So far so good, ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. So the examination of this patient is unremarkable except for this lower limb shown these signs. Can anyone identify lower limb है patient का, इसमें क्या नजर आ रहा है? Very good, Muiz Tariq, Pitakis. ठीक है, Pitakis. Everyone agree? जी बिल्कुल. So the patient, young girl, presented with menorrhagia and epistaxis, and on examination is unremarkable. No liver, no spleen, and there are Pitakis on the lower limb. ठीक है. Pitakis are basically small, red, non-blanching macular lesion caused by intradermal capillary bleeding, or इसमें purpuras are larger, typically raised lesion resulting from bleeding within the skin. Yes, Muiz, differential diagnosis going towards the platelet problem. Yes. So now how will you investigate this case? CBC is done and the platelet count is 30,000. Now further, what test you will advise in this case? PTA, PTT, okay, it is normal. What further investigation? We have just go through the algorithm. अभी हमने algorithm देखा था. ओके ठीक है, डेफिशिएंसी ऑफ विटामिन के भी पूछा जा सकता है. बोन मैरो बायोप्सी, ठीक है, द राइट आंसर बोन मैरो बायोप्सी, लेकिन उससे पहले हमें कुछ बेसिक टेस्ट करवाने पड़ेंगे. बोन मैरो बायोप्सी बिल्कुल लास्ट में आएगी, लेकिन बिल्कुल इस एल्गोरिथम के अंदर जिस पॉइंट पे हम आएंगे बोन मैरो बायोप्सी में करवाना पड़ेगी. यस, दिस इज द राइट आंसर. पेरिफेरल ब्लड स्मीयर देखेंगे हम सबसे पहले कि वेदर दे आर कोई ब्लास्ट सेल्स तो नहीं है, कोई शिस्टोसाइट्स, फ्रेगमेंटेड आरबीसी, कोई एटिपिकल लिम्फोसाइट्स तो नहीं है. एंड देन वी विल गो द हेपेटाइटिस बी वायरस कराएंगे, एचसीवी कराएंगे, एचआईवी कराएंगे, एंड देन ये सब नॉन रिएक्टिव मिलता है, स्मीयर नॉर्मल मिलता है, देन वी हैव टू मूव टुवर्ड्स द बोन मैरो बायोप्सी. बोन मैरो बायोप्सी में इंक्रीज मेगाकैरियोसाइट्स मिलेंगे, एंड देन वी विल लेबल द केस एज आईटीपी. तो फाइनल डायग्नोसिस इस केस के अंदर ITP बनेगा, idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura. And then how will you manage this case? If the platelet count is less than 30,000, if the patient presents with massive bleeding, then you have to transfuse the platelet. Otherwise, the first treatment option is prednisolone 1 mg per kg per day, and second line is IV immunoglobulin. In refractory cases, we give rituximab, tacrolimus, cyclosporin, और फिर other options हैं refractory cases के अंदर. राइट, यही सारी चीजें बताई थी आप लोगों ने भी. रेलेवेंट इन्वेस्टिगेशन इस केस के अंदर सीबीसी, पेरिफेरल फिल्म, होल एब्डोमेन, पेल्विस एंड बोन मैरो एस्पिरेट. ठीक है. Now we will move towards the coagulation disorder. It basically depends on the residual factor 8 levels. Patients with severe hemophilia, in which the normal, in which the factor 8 level are less than 1%. They present with spontaneous bleeding to skin, muscle, and joint. And if there is mild to moderate deficiency, that is, the factors are present up till 40%, they present with same pattern of the bleeding, but usually after trauma or surgery. Major morbidity of into large joint, especially knees, elbow, particularly in calf and psoas muscle. There is complication, hematomas ban sakte hain, particularly muscles is involved. It can lead to femoral nerve compression, the pressure within the sheath, leading to compartment syndrome. Okay. In the first picture, लो प्लेटलेट्स पे पेशेंट इस तरह प्रेजेंट करता है विद पेटेकीज एंड परप्यूरा, और कोएगुलेशन डिफेक्ट पे पेशेंट प्रेजेंट्स विद हेमाटोमास. जबकि सेकंड पिक्चर में मसल्स हाईलाइट किए गए हैं दैट कैन बी involved. Biceps brachii, iliopsoas, flexor are common in these muscles. 8. Concentrate in hemophilia. We will advise for bed rest, splint to reduce continuous hemorrhage, and in mild to moderate cases, there is role of DDAVP, vasopressin receptor agonist, which can raise 1 Willebrand factor and factor 8 level by 3 to 4 folds. This is anti-hemophilic factor concentrate, factor 8. It is available and it is in dry form में होता है और storage 4 degree centigrade में है, तो it can be kept in the refrigerator. जो hemophilics बच्चे होते हैं उनके घर में ये emergency के तौर पर होना चाहिए, ताकि as soon as there is bleed का चांस लगे तो ये फैक्टर 8 कॉन्सेंट्रेट पहला घर में अगर मौजूद होगा तो फर्स्ट डोज उसकी दे दी जाए, और फिर सेकंड उसकी कंजर्वेटिव मैनेजमेंट के रिडक्शन करें, ज्यादा मूवमेंट ना करें, स्टेंट लगवा दें, ये सारी चीजें मैनेज होनी चाहिए. सो फैक्टर 8 कॉन्सेंट्रेट, दिस इज अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट एंड इट कैन बी केप्ट इन द रेफ्रिजरेटर एट 4 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड. Complication of coagulation factor therapy. अब hemophilics में when we give repeatedly this factor 8, so there are also the complication of this coagulation factor therapy. Before 1986, coagulation factor were not screened for viruses. जब blood screening बहुत अच्छी नहीं थी, तो कॉमन था कि coagulation factor therapy से patients can get hepatitis B, C, HIV, जितने भी blood transfusion से चीजें transmit होती हैं, virus transmit होते हैं, वो इस factor से भी transmit हो जाती हैं. But now the screenings are good, so there are no chances of transmission of hepatitis B, C, HIV. This HIV transmission increase the time. नहीं, basically HIV transfusion, blood transfusion के जरिए अगर properly screen blood नहीं होगा HIV के लिए, तो transmission का chances ज़्यादा है. पहले इतनी अच्छी screening नहीं होती थी 80s में, अब अच्छी screening होती है तो HIV के transmission के chances बहुत कम होते हैं, negligible है, नहीं होते, HIV free bloods होते हैं. डेवलपमेंट, ये दिस इज द मेन कॉम्प्लिकेशन जो सेकंड पॉइंट लिखा हुआ है, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एंटी फैक्टर 8 एंटीबॉडीज, कि ओवर द टाइम patient develop the antibodies against these anti-factor. Once these antibodies are formed, then the patient is very difficult to manage. These antibodies rapidly neutralize the therapeutic infusion, making treatment relatively ineffective. Hemophilia B, in hemophilia B, there is deficiency of factor 9 and it is clinically indistinguishable from A. Clinically, we cannot differentiate between hemophilia A and B, but it is less common. Hemophilia A is more common, B is less common. Treatment is with factor 9 concentrate. Presentation same होगी, muscles hematoma के साथ, hemarthrosis के साथ. Then there is von Willebrand disease. It is caused by the deficiency of von Willebrand factor. Patient present with hemorrhagic manifestations, just like with reduced platelet count. The disease can be classified using a combination of assay, which include functional and antigenic measures of von Willebrand factor, multimer analysis of the protein, high weight multimer of von Willebrand factor, and a specific test of function to determine binding to platelet glycoprotein 1b. इसको हम RIPA कहते हैं, Ristosian induced platelet agglutination. Multiple tests होते हैं, इनकी basis पे we classify the von Willebrand disease. Management of mild hemorrhages can be treated by local measures or with DDAVP, which raises the von Willebrand factor levels, resulting in secondary increase in factor 8. Trazimine can be used for the mucosal bleed, but if the patient is with severe arterial disease, we should not use this DDAVP. Okay, we have discussed hemophilia A, B, and von Willebrand disease, congenital coagulation disorder में acquired bleeding disorders के अंदर भी हमने पढ़ा था DIC में भी acquired coagulation disorders हो सकते हैं, liver disease में और renal failure के patient भी they can present with acquired bleeding disorder. In liver disease, we are discussing here the liver disease. In liver disease, there is reduced hepatic synthesis of factor 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, prothrombin, and fibrinogen. Thrombocytopenia may occur secondary to hypersplenism. In cholestatic jaundice, there is also reduced vitamin K absorption. So they're leading to the deficiency of vitamin K dependent the coagulation factor and 2, 7, 9, 10 इनकी deficiency हो सकती है. Okay. So, and that's all regarding the approach to bleeding disorder. कुछ questions हैं इसी lecture की base I want response from your side. ठीक है. The assessment: 16 years old female, a known case of ITP, present in emergency with the complaint of epistaxis. Which medicine is first line recommendation for ITP? Okay. Good. 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 So mean all students were attentive during the lecture. Good. Can anyone tell me the dose of prednisolone, at which dosage is recommended? Prednisolone is good. All the students are, I think, very good. 1 mg per kg. Good, Hasna. Good. Good. Very good. Okay. Okay. What is shown in picture number 1? Sorry, I don't know that. Telangiectasia is good. Okay. अच्छा, don't say HHT. ये तो सिर्फ telangiectasias है ना, तो you सिर्फ spot diagnosis बताएं telangiectasias. HHT तो पूरा diagnosis है. If the patient fulfills the criteria, तो फिर हम diagnosis करेंगे कि hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasias है. Criteria में 4 चीजें बताई थी. Patient present with epistaxis, telangiectasias, AV malformation, and family history. Okay. And what is shown in the second picture? Hematoma in joint. Okay. Good. Hemarthrosis. Good. And what is the cause of hematoma in joint? What are the causes of hematoma या hemarthrosis? What could be the possibility? Coagulation factor disorder. Very good. Good. Hemophilia. So good. Okay. Okay. The next question is, what is the antenatal diagnosis of hemophilia? Antenatal diagnosis of hemophilia is possible by which test? Can anyone recall the name? ठीक है, good. So all the students were very attentive. Chronic villus sampling is the right answer. So we conclude with the lecture. Thank you so much. No, there is not such difference. Telangiectasia, spider angioma बहुत ज़्यादा difference नहीं कर सकते. Telangiectasia भी spider webs की तरह ही present करती है. नहीं, इस टॉपिक से इतने ही easy questions आएंगे. Okay, so we conclude the lecture. Thank you, class. Thank you for your response.